Well, okay.
Hey, hang out on air. It still works. Who knows?
Hey, that's a good step forward.
Well,
and
hello,
not
folks.
2 steps back.
No, or stumbling around after group caching after the beers.
Mm-hmm. He says as he drinks a beer.
Yes. Well, blurry podcast tonight. Just from the eyes of Land Monkey.
Nah. Monkeys can handle their beer.
Oh.
It's a known fact.
Known by whom?
Known by monkeys.
Oh.
Particularly the land variety of monkeys.
They don't communicate well with other people. Okay. Let's do a podcast. This should be
all
fun.
right. Let's do that. Do you have an idea what we'll talk about?
No.
Oh, okay. Make it up as we go?
I don't know, but there's a freaking YouTube going on over here.
Okay.
Not just YouTube.
Uh-oh, but not again. Does that mean that our graphics are all funky again?
I don't know. We'll find out. They could be blurry. Not again. Okay. I'm going to hit record. We're going to play some music. We're going to do a podcast no matter what.
Yeah.
Here we go. Well, here you go. Welcome to Caching in the Northwest. This is the only podcast dedicated to geocaching in the Great Pacific Northwest. We're going to talk about caches and cachers unique to this little corner of the country. So break out the blue and green for the Seahawks' first home game. It's time to go caching in the Northwest. But we can't do that until we bring in our manipulating monkey. Some say he has tried to unionize all the cachers in Canada, and others say the unions been on strike and he's down on his luck. It's tough.
Whoa, I'm halfway there. That's me. Hey, another 80s reference. What? Hey, let's just pause that 80s reference and take a look at what's going on. It looks like a football arena.
That's right. It is the Seahawks' first home game, and Wits End and his family happen to be there. Apparently, Largent stood up in front of him.
Ah, there he is.
Hey! See, there you go. Look at all that blue and look at all that green.
The whole Wits End family. That is awesome. I hope they're having an awesome time.
How can you not?
That's a yes.
Yes.
Going up and
you're
down.
at a Seahawks game.
So this is a yes/no, probably because the ambient noise is so loud.
Exactly.
Or Wits End has lost his voice because he's been cheering for the Seahawks because they're doing so well.
First down. I know what those.
Is that what that meant?
Yeah,
Okay.
We've got a group of people around those seats that signal first down. It's a big deal.
That's hilarious. Awesome.
It's a lot of fun. It's got to be 117 decibels there most of the game. It's one of the loudest stadiums in the NFL. It's
no way.
It's an experience. Oh yes. And
What,
it's
is
an
that because
stadium.
Is that because it's larger? Like there's more seating?
No, it's the exuberance of the Seahawks fan.
Or did they acoustically design it so that the fans can actually just be whispering to each other and it's still the loudest stadium?
If you whisper over here, it's really loud on the field. They say there's some engineering, but the Seahawks won't admit to it.
There you go. Awesome. Well, hey, good to see you, Wits End, and your family. Hope the game goes really well for you guys. All right, got the thumbs up, got a big smile. Awesome. You guys, I'm going to go with this whole yes/no thing because this is actually kind of fun. Has the game started? Game is underway?
Mm-hmm.
Are the Seahawks winning?
At 7.
No. Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Are they going to come back?
Yeah. No doubt there.
That's hilarious. All right. Bad Cop, do you have any questions for Jim while he's on
Did you have any garlic fries? No. No. Bummer.
Are you allowed to have garlic fries?
Oh, he's got popcorn though.
Popcorn. Popcorn's good.
Yeah, he's good.
Do they have like specialty, like really good popcorn there, or is it average popcorn like movie theaters?
Oh. Okay. Well, there we go.
There you go. All right.
This makes so much intrigue for our audio listeners. But Wits End is at CenturyLink Field right now, and we're getting to see a bit of the game. And
people walking between their seats.
Yeah, well, you've got to get up and walk sometime. So,
well, speaking of getting up and walking,
yeah, thank you, Wits End. We appreciate the live feed.
Good to see you guys. Take care.
Have fun.
All right, that was awesome.
Speaking of watching video, apparently Brylang says, so here on Google Plus, I can't see the video. I get an error. Watch this video on YouTube. Playback on other websites has been disabled by the video owner, which it has not.
Yeah, I was going to say, that doesn't sound like something
on
you
YouTube,
do.
There's no Q&A. What's up with that? Well, that's one of the things we're going to talk about here, and I can bring it up right now because, well, we have. There's a little housekeeping to mention. Google is merging Hangouts on Air with YouTube Live.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Right now, we are still using Hangouts on Air. We have until September 12th, I believe. And it looks like Q&A may be replaced with YouTube chat. Let's see. We've got something here. Geocache Talk, Gary Slinkard says, I think, Brian, that if you set up the show through Google Plus versus YouTube Live. So we'll have to see. If you need to, head on over to youtube.com/cachingNW, and you can catch the live feed right there.
Absolutely. It just won't have the Q&A. But as the bad cop said, we are working on that. We're going to make sure that we try and keep up with the Googles and do what's in the best interest of you, our loyal listeners.
Exactly. So we'll have to see how this thing works itself out in time, and we will come up with some options for our beloved Q&A.
Well, and speaking of our loyal listeners, Bad Cop, is there anything you wanted to mention about some of them? Maybe
yes,
some who are supporting us.
Wow. Yes, exactly. We'd love to take this opportunity to thank our Denali level supporters. That's Limax and the Mount Vernon Parks and Rec Department. If you want to know more about supporting the show, be sure to click on the Patreon link on the CachingNW.com website. Now, tonight we are going to talk about group caching and maybe a little football. But before we get going, let's start glowing.
That's right. As always, we're calling this segment Glow, or the geocaching log of the week. And I just realized that I'm reading your part, so I'm going to now leave it back to you.
Whether you wrote it or not, we want to hear about it. Send an email to feedback@cachingnw.com. Call it into 253-693-TFTC, or use the voicemail tool on the website. You can use that on your mobile phone, your tablet, your computer, and show us how you glow.
Fantastic. Can I talk now? Is it my turn?
It's your turn. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. That was so rude of me. Oh, an embarrassment to all Canadians. I apologize on behalf of my country.
You're apologizing and saying sorry. You're doing the Canadian thing.
I'm trying. All right. So this week's glow, folks, is from A Hollies. Is that how it's pronounced? A Hollies? A Hollies? A Hollies?
I would go with A Hollies, yeah.
A Hollies. All right, so there's two L's, so it is going to be pronounced Holly. And they attended the WWFM
13.
There's a pause there as I did the math. USA, Ohio, Akron.
Akron, right. Ohio.
Akron, Ohio, okay.
It's in the popular state of Ohio.
All right, and so that's what the OH is for, okay. Not Akron. And it's called Check-In at Hotel Matthews. So the glow reads, time for a true geocacher confession. I got up and got my family in the car and at the flash mob location. Waited. Not a soul showed up. I was shocked that no one came. CLB Rocker said he felt so bad for me. I have had a very emotional week and I was upset. Well, It turns out I was there at 10 a.m., not 1 p.m. You know when the flash mob actually was? So I rechecked the webpage and I saw my mistake. Thankfully, when I returned at the correct time, folks showed up. Lots of folks. Thanks to all that came to the location of this hometown treasure. So that is from GLN6A7QB is the event GC code if you want to look that one up. Or no, actually, that's a log. That's the log. That's a log. It's a GL code, not a GC code. So that is the specific log for that event. But I will let you know, Holly, if you're listening to the show. First of all, thank you for listening to the show. Secondly, I have also done the same thing, except I did it on a slightly larger scale. The event was on a Sunday, and I showed up at the correct time on Saturday. Because most of the events that we go to out here generally happen on Saturdays, but this one was on a Sunday, and so I just assumed it was on a Saturday, and I didn't check. And that's what happens when you don't read the cache description.
Well, there's always that. 3 hours early, I expect geocachers to show up early. I mean, you
3 hours though?
Yeah, I think they show up 3 hours early. It would not surprise me in the lead. Well, okay, not in this case, but in other cases. You go there, it's 10 o'clock, you look, it's already in full swing. Yeah, it has been for an hour because, people show up early. So
this is going to happen. It's the way it's going to roll. Well, speaking of events and showing up early, try not to show up too early, but folks, remember that this coming weekend is International Geocaching Weekend. And so it's time to get yourself a souvenir. Back up. Did you?
I was going to say, it's not just International Geocaching Weekend. There's a lot going on this weekend. What else is going on?
Well, it is also the conclusion of the hashtag HQ Duck Dash. And I think there's also is it not also the weekend for the third and final Mission GC souvenir, or is that next weekend? I'm confused
that's
on
next
that
weekend.
One. Okay, I get a little confused on that one.
I haven't gotten an email yet.
Nor had I, so that's why I was a little concerned because I thought I might miss it. Okay, cool. Well, so if you have found one of these deadly duck trackables like that, quack quack. If you're looking at,
I've never seen a duck that's actually deadly.
Yes, well, this one is. Be careful. Be very careful. You're going to need a bigger boat. So if you found one of those trackables, if you have one in your possession, make sure you bring it this weekend, this Saturday, to an event, and that will be the closure on your duck race. You'll have closure, and having closure is very important.
That's a Western concept.
Is it? It's not important to have closure if you're not in Western society? Right.
Or on the West Coast, I think.
Okay. So it's a caching in the Northwest thing.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Bad Cop, I'm just going to also throw out there that people should remember to search on geocaching.com for an event. And I believe the good folks at geocaching.com have actually put an icon right off the main search page, the new search page, to find the event nearest you this weekend. So they're trying to make it as easy as possible for you to get your butt out to an event.
Yeah. When they put those quick searches out there, they did it last year, right? When search
Correct.
Was released, and they did it in accordance with the souvenirs, the promotion for the hashtag geocache road trip.
So nice of them.
Yes, exactly. I thought, that's okay. It's okay. I'm really learning to like those.
I find that they're handy at times. I'm not always looking for what that needs to be, but when I do, I know where to go, and it's really quick. So yeah, good job, you guys. Good job. We'll have to get those guys back on the show sometime and
definitely
chat with them about that. In the meantime, though, I also wanted to just bring up Bri Lang in the Q&A did mention that this weekend is also the Going Ape event. So there is, if you're in the Northwest, there is a mega event to get to. So get out there, support the good folks from the WSGA and the Going Ape event.
Definitely. I will be there. So Bri Lang, I'll look for you. And
cool. So what happens if people find you, Bad Cop, at an event?
I feel sorry for them.
Do you autograph their GPSRs?
Yeah, or skin. Hat.
Right across the screen of the GPSR with a Sharpie.
Yes.
The Bad Cop.
The big wide Sharpies too.
Nice. That's very kind of you.
Yeah. Well, they need to be able to see the signature, right?
And then it's like $5 per autograph. Is that?
No, 15.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm not giving a discount. Okay.
All right.
For cashing in the Northwest listeners, I'll give you a discount, $7.50.
Wow, half price, 50% off.
50% off.
That's amazing. You are such a generous person.
Wow.
Well, Bad Cop, speaking of your generosity and your amazing character, why don't you tell us what you've been up to this past week with respect to geocaching?
Well, I am such an amazing character.
You are a character.
Sorry, you really took me aback with that one. I wasn't ready for the amazing character.
There you go.
This week in geocaching, well, not every part of the country is like the Northwest. In fact, I would say no other part.
What do you mean? Do tell.
Here in the Northwest, it seems every weekend we have a major event. Not necessarily a mega like next weekend, but a major event. And this past weekend was no exception. I went to the Dead Men Tell No Tales event. This was in the beautiful town of
Port Orchard.
Port Orchard. I was going to say, is it Bremerton or Port Orchard? Suddenly I've forgotten. Of Port Orchard. And I have gone to, it was a differently named event, but same idea a couple of years ago. And you got the option for an added fee to go sailing on some of the tall ships. And they had what they called a battle sail. So they went out, unfurled the sails, and maneuvered around and actually shot the cannons. Now, no load, but I mean those little cannons are loud and they echo across the water, and it is just an amazing thing to do. If you have a chance to ride on these tall ships, don't pass up that opportunity. You've got to do it.
That would be super, super cool. Wish I could have been there. I bet it went really well. I saw some photos from the event that just looked amazing. Absolutely amazing. So you had a good time? Oh,
love it. We ran into the longtime listeners, the Camp Clan. In fact, I met all 4 of the camps. The first time I met...
that's a rare sighting.
Exactly. I've met 3 camps and finally met the 4th camp. And IHAM says the Bad Cop will help you in Ingress attacks if you run into him at an event. So if you're interested,
obviously there's a story behind that, maybe in the after show.
Yeah. B Pendragon says, go full fan convention pricing, starting at $20 for the autograph, $15 just for a pick, or $30 for both. Those are all minimums too. You can go higher. Con staff or convention staff get a special signing time at half price. So.
Nice. Yeah. Sounds like a good plan. Thank you, B Pendragon.
Yeah. Thank you, B Pendragon. I didn't know the pricing breakdown there, but I'm going to do that.
Right on. So, did you find any caches while you were at this amazing event?
Amazing. Well, this event also lined up perfectly on my calendar.
Oh,
I remember that one day I needed. One day left. That was on this weekend on the 13th.
No way.
Yes. So I could do an event. They threw an event just for me to finish my calendar.
That was so thoughtful.
I know. Get this. I hadn't logged the event yet, and I was doing a couple of the lab caches, and I went to go show somebody that I've got one to do, and the lab cache counted as a cache, and my calendar was full.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, that's cool, man.
I didn't know that. I didn't think they would.
Yeah, their lab caches are weird. They count for some things and not for others. So yeah, you have to kind of know how that works out. But that is very cool. So you filled in your calendar. Mm-hmm. You found 10 lab caches.
Yep, 10 lab caches, all 10 lab caches.
So there was 10 lab caches. So the event wasn't a mega, but it had 10 lab caches. That is cool.
Yes.
Is that because Goblin Dust knows how to pull special favors?
It has to be.
Well, I think geocaching.com owes Goblin Dust a lot at this point in time from some of the caches he's put together for different events.
Oh, you better believe it. Well, and the cache right there near HQ.
Yeah.
The Galfrey and something or another.
The phone sanitizers one, yeah.
Yeah. So
Golgafrinchian phone sanitizers.
Oh, there you go. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Some of the lab caches, most of them were in businesses.
Okay.
So you had to walk into the business One of them was in the candy shop where they gave you fudge samples.
That's a shame.
Yeah, I know. I had to do it for the lab cache though.
There you go.
So it was a lot of fun, and met up with the camp clan. For some reason, that's a difficult one to say.
Just doesn't roll off the tongue.
No, it doesn't.
Camp
and we were able to go do a quick
Cool.
2-stage multi, which what we needed for that weekend, right? You needed to find a multi-cache last weekend in order to get your souvenir. So we were able to do that. Found a few other nearby caches. Went to an odd event. That'll be another story.
Okay. Yeah. So I have to interject with another pop culture reference. Every time I hear the term multi-cache, my brain goes to the movie The Fifth Element. And all I hear is, yes, it's a multi-cache. So it's a very obscure reference. If anybody gets it, we can talk about it in the after show. But just so there's another pop culture reference for caching in the Northwest. I'm
going to have to go look that one up.
Multi-cache. So it's actually multi-pass is the term that they use in the show.
Oh, okay.
But when I hear multi-cache, it sounds so similar that
I gotcha.
My brain just plays the image of the movie in the back of my head. So not on the back of my head, although sometimes movies are played on the back of my head, but that's a whole nother conversation for the after show.
I'm sorry, for what?
The after show.
Land Monkey.
Yes.
It feels like Wits End is here, doesn't it?
It did. I was looking around for him.
Now, I've talked. It's your
turn.
Have. Did you do anything this weekend?
I did do something this weekend. This weekend, a friend of the show, Dora Moore and Marty the Caveman, friends of the show, Dora Moore and Marty the Caveman, invited us to join them on a kayaking adventure. So we pulled out our kayak, which hasn't had any recent activity. So it was great to get out in the water. And we kayaked for some caches called Landlubber's Lament, which are really cool caches in a sort of a marsh-like delta area on the Fraser River. It's a very beautiful day, awesome time. So we went out kayaking with those guys, found one of the two caches. We actually DNF'd the second cache, periscoped from that point, which was kind of fun. So we were able to show folks the beauty of that area. And as well, if you go look on our YouTube channel now, well, okay, not now, but very soon, if you go look on the Land Monkey YouTube channel, you will find a video that is up there that shows our adventure for that day. It was a lot of fun. Then once go ahead.
No, I was just commenting how nice that was.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was amazing. We saw lots of wildlife and just had a great time. And after we got the kayaks all put away and headed into town, we met up. So Dora Moore, Marty the Caveman took us, and we met up with Kat Kogo, Al Kogo, and O'Joy.
One of my favorite Northwest cachers.
One of all of our favorite anybody who's met her will say that she is one of their favorite Northwest cachers. She is just an amazing character. And O'Joy and I basically monopolized the dinner conversation talking about Earth caches.
No.
So, yeah, I know. Crazy. Hard to believe, but it happened. But yeah, it was great. It was fantastic to see her and chat with her. She is on a mission to get her Earth cache count up so that she can get her milestone number 500 Earth cache find. I'm pretty sure I've got that number right. I'm pretty sure it's 500.
It would not surprise me in the least.
That it's just crazy. That's awesome. But yeah, so that was our weekend. It was a lot of fun. But speaking of caching in groups, I think that's our topic for tonight, is it not?
It is. How did you know?
Because I read the show notes.
Oh, good. So I think summer caching season is a time, and it's not the only time, but it's a time we go caching in groups.
We do.
And, there are multiple reasons to cache in groups. One of the first thing I think about is a cache machine.
Sorry, I have to apologize. I'm laughing because I just I saw a link that B Pendragon put in the Q&A, and I followed the link, and it is my quote that I was referencing from The Fifth Element.
It's a multi-pass. Yes.
Love that movie. Absolutely love that movie. All right. Anyways, I'm sorry. I totally interrupted you and derailed the conversation, which is usually the opposite of what I do. So I'm going to just give myself a multi-pass on that one.
You're now punished.
Literally.
So what was the first reason I gave for group caching?
I wasn't listening because I was looking at the link from Deep End Dragon. What was the first reason?
Wow. I get to play full bad cop tonight.
You do.
The first one I think of here in the Northwest are cache machines. These are, get-togethers of a pre-programmed route put on by Travis L. Once a quarter. So once a quarter or
once a quarter? That's correct.
Is it the solstice?
Lines them up with the solstice and whatever the opposite of a solstice is.
Yeah, the moon cyst.
Where's Jim when you need him?
Yeah, exactly. And huge number of people go to there. They're not mega events, but they're well attended. The next one is mega events. Say the Going Ape event.
The Going Ape event.
This weekend.
So,
thank you for saying that. That's a reason to get together and go group caching. A destination cache. Now, what I think Land Monkey is a destination cache is what we did just about a year ago. The hike to GCD.
Ah, okay. Yes. I was thinking a year ago. Where were we a year ago? Yes.
Can you believe It's been a year?
Again, if people are interested in seeing how that one went, we've got a video on YouTube for that one as well.
So it may be a cache that has high favorite points. It's an old cache or it's a hike. Something that draws you together. Or perhaps a simple power trail. Well, I shouldn't say a simple, but a power trail.
Or you could have a power trail that has destination caches on it, which is even better.
Exactly. And those are just some of the reasons. Of course, getting together with friends and going caching is always a reason.
And yeah, there's definitely oftentimes when you can pull together a group of people just to go out for some caches, just to go to this hill or this lake or this mountain or whatever, because why not get together with a bunch of friends and go for a fun walk somewhere?
I'm sorry, I'm reading the Q&A. And Rylang says, someone said GCD. I can say it. It's okay.
There you go. Okay. So yes, those are all really, really good reasons to go. Sorry, what's that?
Limax picked up on that as well. Sorry. It's funny.
That's funny. So yes, the power of GCD has been invoked, but we are going to exercise our power of veto.
That's right.
So we're going to veto the GCD and keep going with the topic tonight. So yeah, those are definitely great reasons to go. I totally agree with you. I think some other topics or some other ideas when you go, if everybody's going in the same vehicle, and I think the concept here probably applies more to the high density power trails, or maybe not even high density, but the sort of road, along a roadway, whether it's a highway in a desert somewhere, or whether it's Forest Service road up in the back hills. There's always some roles and responsibilities that come with doing that kind of group caching. Usually it breaks down to ideally 4 roles. So, ideally you've got 4 people in the vehicle and you can sort of rotate through that. That seems, in my experience, to work the best. You can definitely do it with 2. Can't really do it with, you can do it with 1, but then one person's doing everything and it slows things down. And it's not as much fun. And we're talking about group caching.
I was going to say, you're really not caching with a group.
No, if you're unless you have multiple personalities, but then that's just a whole nother conversation. Anyways, so the roles, the duties, the roles and responsibilities. The most obvious one is a driver. Somebody's got to drive the vehicle. Then somebody else has to run out and get the caches. And often that is the same person who is the navigator, but it doesn't have to be. Then you have the logger, or the person who is going to sign the cache logs. And lastly, we'll call it the researcher or the info finder. And that's somebody who's going to just read up on any descriptions or hints and make sure that we're looking in the right spot. So again, you can combine some of those roles. Mrs. Land Monkey and I did the Farm Rock Trail out towards Kelowna just the two of us over a long weekend, and combine those roles. But I think one of the best things to advise if you're going to sort of select those roles is to rotate.
Definitely. Yeah, you don't want to get locked into a single role for 8 hours.
No.
Unless you really enjoy it.
Yeah, but if you're always the runner, you're going to get tired and thirsty. If you're always a logger, you're going to get a hand cramp.
And if you're the logger, you're going to get upset that you're not actually finding the caches.
There's that. Yeah. And again, we state the logger, and I guess it depends on what kind of power trail you're doing. Sometimes there's the ones, and I think what we're referring to are the ones where, sorry, the ones where you switch out the cache containers as you go, where that's an acceptable practice. Sometimes though, that's not an acceptable practice depending on the type of trail you're doing. And the logger is the cache finder. So it all depends how you do things.
And I've also been with crews where one person has actually logged the caches on geocaching.com or their GPS.
Oh, you mean logging that way? I thought you meant like actually signing the log.
And then typically the runner, the person who goes and finds the cache, signs the log.
Right.
But the logger will then email that finds file to everybody. Then they can go submit their logs individually, and it's easier because they were all together when you found it.
Yeah. So those duties apply when you're out in a group doing car caches. But even if you're on a hike, I would suggest that one of the things that's important to keep in mind when you're hiking is to sort of switch up the finding, not have somebody out in front who always finds the caches every time, and the people at the sort of the back end of the group don't get an opportunity. I think when we go caching as a group, Mrs. Landmonkey and I, we try and make an effort to sort of move back and forth through the group for a couple of reasons. One, because we don't, we want a turn to find a cache, but we don't want to always be the ones finding the cache. We want to make sure everybody gets a turn. I'm sorry. Just for listeners who are wondering why I keep pausing and coughing, I just got over laryngitis. So thank you for your patience.
He lost his voice, but was able to use his GPS to find it again.
I did, yes. So there you go.
Let me build on this with,
go for it.
It keeps jumping around. Dora Moore posted a very good comment in the Q&A, which it just popped up because it's going to the top. Dora Moore says, we went on a group caching trip to Seattle via Mount Vernon last week. I wasn't navigating for a change. I fell asleep in the car on the I-5 and woke up somewhere in Snohomish doing an earth cache I wasn't prepared for. So there you go. So it sounds like she tends to get stuck in a role of navigating.
There you go. Yeah. So that's the thing, right? Switch up the roles. But like I was saying as well, even when you're hiking, switch things up. And like I said, one of the reasons is to make sure everybody gets a chance to find the caches. The other reason is to make sure you get a chance to talk to the different people that you're with, so that you're not, and there's nothing wrong with talking to the same person for the whole hike if you're having a great conversation, but it's kind of fun to see what everybody else is up to and what they're thinking about. So that would, I guess, be the difference between, the duties and the rotation of the duties, whether you're driving or hiking.
Exactly. The next thing to consider when you're group caching is individual ability. You don't want to do more than the least mobile individual on your team, whether that's child, elderly, the bad cop, whatever.
So what do you mean by that?
I'm thinking our hike to GCD. It was a tough hike, and we're not all machines like Landmonkey who can just jog up the side of a mountain and go off. So when you're group caching, when you're planning it, you go, okay, this is going to be a tough hike. Let's maybe cut back the number of caches.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. So sort of understand the limits of the group and cache within them.
Yeah. Limac says, on a hike, I fell more than a mile behind everyone. I turned around and got back just before everyone else returned.
Oh no.
So,
a mile behind.
Yeah.
Like, so why wouldn't people stop?
Wow. Yeah. So, if you feel like you're the one holding people up, then it's no fun for you.
No, that's not fun. So yeah, don't put people in that position.
Right. this is the comment he started with, Limax says, I cache alone. If I go with a group, I'm slowest and I hate holding everyone back.
Well, that's nice that he's cognizant of that, but then it kind of defeats the whole purpose of group caching.
Exactly.
If you're going to go group caching, you're going to have to expect that you're going to do exactly what the bad cop was just saying, and that, tailor your group to that level.
Tailor your finds to the group's level.
Yeah. Well, be clear when you're publishing. Okay, so you can't publish an event to go out looking for a cache. We all know that.
Right.
But you're going to publish something on Facebook or however you're going to communicate, email, whatever, to the people, and say, this is the hike that we're going to do. This is the terrain rating of the hike we're going to do. Expect an 18% grade or something like that, right? To help people know whether, you know what, that's going to be outside my abilities. I'll pass on this one and I'll look for another one. So, to be fair to everybody up front as well. And I think if you do that plus manage the pace and such, so that everybody feels that they're engaged and involved, I think that's fair. Exactly.
And you've got to consider the heat, the cold, the weather, whatever's the limiting factor.
Rain.
Yeah. If you're climbing, this weekend we're supposed to have record heat here in the Seattle area. It's probably not the best time to consider doing a 15-mile bike marathon caching. Well, 15 miles on a bike is done. 150-mile marathon bike caching trip.
Right. Well, you can ask Brylang about doing group hikes up mountains or around lakes in the rain.
Yeah. So whatever that limiting factor is for the weather, the thing that you can't control, plan accordingly. Perhaps you're not going to, find all the caches on the way. You're going to shoot for the destination and work your way back or what have you. Maybe you cut it short and decide this is a 2-trip type of group caching. And along those same lines, be sure to stop for food, water, restroom breaks. Like I say, we're not all machines like Land Monkey.
What? You can't eat and drink while you walk? What's wrong with you people?
Well, you think about your Tri-Cities caching experience. Was it 2 years ago now?
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah, where it was 113 degrees.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Now that was again car-based, but
at the same time, the heat was a limiting factor.
It was, yeah, absolutely. You could only get out of the vehicle for so long, and you had to get back into AC. I don't know if anybody, and I'm sure there must have been some folks who were doing that without, or in vehicles without AC. And man, I don't know how you'd be able to do that. That was crazy. Crazy hot. All right. Well, another thing to keep in mind, and I think we've touched on it a little bit, but it's the length of time, number of finds. So again, that ties in with some of our previous points, but as you're planning it out as a group, set a goal. So if you know that you're going for a particular power trail, set a reasonable goal. Look at previous logs, see how other people have done on that trail, what they've been able to cache, and how many they've been able to find, how long it took them, and then measure that against the average ability of your team. I think that's a great way to set a goal. Another goal to set is to plan your caches towards a destination or an event. So if you're headed to the Going Ape event and you wanted to hit some caches on your way there, or if you haven't done the caches up there through the Tunnel of Light and you wanted to hit those and then come back to the event afterwards, you can plan around that. Or if you're perhaps trying to find a cache on an island and you need to drive and walk through a lake, that's a destination for sure.
That's a destination. Let the land monkeys drive into a lake and we walk from there.
Or drive onto a beach.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So there's different ways to figure that out, but definitely consider looking at a reasonable length of time. And again, that's going to be taking into account the individual abilities and, how many finds you're going to make, the distance between the caches, the state of the trail, et cetera.
And I really think setting a goal or, length of time, number of finds stops that, we can just do one more. Let's go do
Oh,
one
good
more.
point.
And you maybe have one person in the group that's like, I'm done. I've
Yeah.
done enough. So by setting it to a limiting factor, perhaps it's an event at the end. We're going to be at the event at 7 p.m.
Good point. I see where you're going. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that way you're managing everybody's expectations fairly.
The next thing I think we need to look at is difficulty. And this ties back in with individual ability. So don't do more, than the group can handle. And remember that lower difficulty caches equals more cache finds, typically, where higher difficulty caches or higher terrain caches equals fewer cache finds.
That's true, but it also depends upon whether you're really just going after the numbers or if you're going after a particular destination cache.
Yeah, so if you're hiking up a mountain, or as B Pendragon says, does the bike ride involve a 400-foot climb at the last mile and a half? You may want to consider that, hey, we're going to be really tired after that. Let's limit the number of caches we find after that.
It's a good idea.
So
when you're going on this adventure, it's important also to consider how you are going to communicate during and before the event. So there's the before, which would be the planning aspect of that. And obviously social media is going to be a huge asset for that. And then there's the subsequent aspects of how are you going to communicate with each other during the event. If the group breaks up, if people split up for various reasons, how are you going to keep in touch? How are you going to plan to make sure you're at that event or destination at the right time? Bad Cop, any thoughts?
Well, if you're in the same vehicle, it's much easier. You can communicate, hey, let's skip this next one. Looking ahead, I see a lot of DNFs. Let's move on. Perhaps you've got multiple vehicles in a caravan. And so you're just going to follow the leader. A lot of that kind of works out when you're at the current cache site. You say, okay, this is the next one I'm aiming for. I'm going to go for, GC something.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And we'll meet there. So no matter how traffic leads you, they'll wait for you at the next cache. You can use phones to call each other, text each other. And of course, since we have so many hams, you can use all sorts of radios, be that ham, be that FRS, whatever format you want to communicate in. You've got these abilities to communicate to each other while you're moving between caches.
Absolutely. Bad Cop, I'm losing my voice again. I'm going to ask you to do the next one.
I certainly will. I'd love to. And at the end, I always like a get-together, whether it's a meal or just simply an event where you can regale each other of your tales of the day. I look to the cash machines as an example for this. I think they do a very good job. Well, Travis L does a very good job of setting an event at a restaurant at the end. Everybody can get together, tell their tales of, do you remember that one cat? Oh yeah, that was a tough one. And it brings that bonding of a shared experience together with other cachers.
Yeah, absolutely it does. That's really good feedback and a good point. And I think it makes it much more enjoyable. And whether it's a, actually planned event, booked event, like official event on geocaching.com, or whether it's just, what, guys, when we're done, we're all going to go to this pub or this restaurant or whatever and hang out. I think that really helps make the day. I know it really was a lot of fun this past weekend when we did that.
Exactly. And, we went to an event. I ran into the camp clan. I don't know why. It's an issue. Sorry, guys. I'll see him again this weekend. I'll work it through my head a little better.
Keep working on it.
Yeah. IHAM and his family. Maybe that would be a better, easier thing for me to say. Or Die Monkey and her family.
Even better.
Even better. That's a better reference right there. And talk together. Hey, there's an event. Hey, let's do a multi-cache. Let's, it was nice. And it wasn't a pre-programmed thing, spur of the moment. Here's the caches we want to do. I also ran into the Vaughns, DS Vaughn and Princess Trouble. And we did the majority of the lab caches together. So that was a nice thing. Oh, which ones have you done? Okay, I go over there. Let me go help you with these 3, and then we'll catch up on the other 7. So it was a nice thing to do.
Sounds cool. Sounds like a lot of fun.
It was. But group caching, a lot of fun. I really encourage our listeners to do group caching. Plan ahead. Even if it's just a trip down to Seattle via Mount Vernon, where you can fall asleep in the back of the car. Hopefully you weren't driving. But
so Bad Cop, I would maybe, as we're sort of coming to the end of this topic for today, I'd like to throw out, if you don't mind, to our listeners, if you're listening to this podcast and you aren't able to join us live, or if you're listening live and you want to throw something out there, throw your tips and tricks for group caching to our Twitter feed or to the Facebook page for Caching NW, and share with us your ideas about group caching. And
Definitely.
maybe even put hashtag group cache, something like that. So then hashtag group cache and send it to @CachingNW and tell us your thoughts and ideas about it. Obviously, we don't know everything. Well, I shouldn't say obviously. Maybe it's a surprise for some people that the Bad Cop doesn't know everything, but it is possible that we may have missed something. So share with us your thoughts and your ideas on group caching. Give it a hashtag group cache, and that way it'll make it easier for everybody to find it. And we'd love to share those in upcoming shows.
We would. I mean, we love your feedback. We love the feedback in the Q&A. We're going to be covering the 18 million questions in the Q&A in
the after show,
just when we're done here. So if you were looking to find Land Monkey, as Land Monkey is looking to find his voice, first place I would go is to landmonkey.blogspot.ca for his wonderful blog. You can always look to Twitter, Instagram, Periscope at LandMonkeyGC. Facebook is Team Land Monkey. And on the YouTubes, look for Land Monkey. You're going to see a bazillion Land Monkey geocaching adventure videos. Maybe a little less than a bazillion. Okay. If you're looking for Wits End, you won't see him here tonight, but look on any of the social medias for Wits End. If it's Google Plus, which we have no idea how long that's going to be around, that's google.com/plus Wits End US. And for me, the only one with a voice on this podcast tonight, that's not true. Look for me at Caching NW. That can be Twitter, Facebook, Google Plus, or you can head on over to cachingnw.com/host to read our bios and all the links that we just mentioned.
That's absolutely right. And I'll do my best to try and close the show out tonight.
Do you want me to do it for you?
Let me give it a try.
Okay.
All right. So again, we want to thank you all for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Remember that you can be a part of the show. Call 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment, ask a question, or send some ice via the postal service any time of the day or night. And of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. Also, please remember that your support helps to keep quality shows coming. So if you like this show, please click the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website. And remember, this show is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2016 by Chris Umpenauer.
Good night, folks. And we are clear of the recording.
We are, and that is a very, oh my goodness, that is a busy Q&A. It's the after show.
Okay, well, let's start off with the Fifth Element. Limax got that reference, one of his favorite movies. Brylang mentions the multipass. Let's see, do we have any other?
That was just too funny.
Yeah, there's little monkeys running behind the land monkey. So apparently the video is coming through somewhere.
Well, some people
And
are
the fact
watching.
that somebody noticed I changed my shirt.
Halfway through the show?
You didn't notice, did you?
No, I didn't. I was obviously not paying close enough attention.
Okay. Yeah, we know the playback issues, and I don't know. I assume it's got something to do with the upcoming change, but Wet Coaster wants to know if we can move this over to ARPANET. Yes, and geeks understand what ARPANET is.
Yeah, that's the solution. If it worked once, it'll work again.
Wet Coaster does want to know, Land Monkey, how many people are you going to smuggle aboard the cruise?
I'm not smuggling anybody aboard the cruise, just for the official answer on that one, in case anybody at Customs and Securities is listening. Yeah. However, I understand that there's over 40 geocachers on this cruise.
Wow. And you're telling me there's not going to be an event on the ship? I don't believe you.
Well, there are unofficial events
Yes.
on the ship, but you can't count them.
Because they're unofficial? Is it like a lab cache? Sometimes it counts, sometimes it doesn't?
It's not.
No, it always doesn't count.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
English, but you get the point.
Yes.
Dora Moore says, I have the choice of watching the YouTube feed in US English or UK English. This is going to be fun. Well,
Okay.
you always have the option to watch it in US English or Canadian English almost every week.
Well, I was going to say, I
long as
actually broadcast from my studios in UK English.
Oh, UK, okay.
Yeah.
So it's not Canadian English?
Canadian English is UK English.
I can't argue with that.
No, you can't.
Oh, let's see. We have a good for them. That's going to be from Limax to the family of Wits End.
Good.
At the game. Good for them.
Hope they're having a great time.
Yep. Limax also saw the video on kayaking.
Thank you for watching and thank you for commenting.
IHAM says, kayak plus periscope. Is this a submarine kayak?
That's funny. And thank goodness, no, it was not a submarine kayak. That would turn out as a very different kind of story.
Yeah. Yes, it would. Okay. The mission, Brightling says the Mission GC final mission is the weekend of the 27th, 28th.
Cool.
Look, a squirrel. Because we get off sometimes on tangents.
Sorry, what were you saying?
Limax says, my wife's birthday and the nearest event is close to half an hour away. I'm going to find a multi-cache with 10 plus favorite points instead.
Good for him. That's funny.
Nice. Garlic fries in Washington. I thought it was a Gilroy thing. No, garlic fries are a huge thing at sports events here, at least in the Seattle area.
What's Gilroy?
Gilroy, California is the garlic capital of the world.
I was not cognizant of that fact.
Are you not a big garlic fan?
Not big enough to know where the garlic capital or the self-proclaimed garlic capital of the world is.
It's like Long Beach saying it has the world's longest beach.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Okay, so while Dora Moore says some of us have to work this weekend, Brylang boasts that he's going to the Ape event at 10 a.m. Also, I'll be at the breakfast at 7 a.m. at the Snoqualmie Pass Pancake Restaurant.
Nice.
Yeah. Get the is it boysenberry syrup? What berries are popular there on Mount Rainier? And I can't come up with it.
Huckleberries?
Huckleberry? Could be huckleberry.
Blackberries?
There's a syrup they make from it that's absolutely delicious.
Maples? Maple berries.
Maple berries. No, that's the Canadian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like fun anyways, Brylan.
Yeah,
Hope you have a great time.
IHAM says, well, don't we have to shut down the show since GCD has been invoked? Huckleberries. That's what Limax says. Yes, huckleberries. Limax also says, I smell the garlic when we pass through Gilroy last weekend coming home from Monterey.
Oh, I love Monterey. What a great town.
Well, if you go to Monterey, you're close to Gilroy. Go ahead and take a whiff.
Well, so I probably have driven through it and just didn't realize it.
White Coaster says, sounds like there's different rules for different people.
What's the context of that comment?
I don't know.
But it's true. There are different rules for me than there are for everybody else.
Right. The land monkey machine who can jog up a mountain.
Not exactly, but, we do our best.
B Pendragon. Always use more than 1 clove of garlic, even if that's all called for in the recipe. Even if the recipe is how to cook a single clove of garlic, use 2.
Good advice. You can never have too much.
No, I love garlic. There's a Mongolian grill we used to go to, and you could have them. You could put your own garlic in, and they'd cook it.
Right.
I would come home, and my wife would lay in bed, and she'd go, "There's garlic coming out of your pores."
I was just gonna say
it's so strong. It was like,
that's funny.
Yeah, but it was so good.
I was just going to say that the number one rule that we have in the house of eating garlic is if somebody's going to eat garlic, you both eat garlic.
Everybody has to eat garlic. Yeah.
Yeah.
White Coaster says lab caches, different rules for different people.
Yes,
it is. And White Coaster says, as long as he just plays the full bad cop and not the full Monty.
Oh, yeah, please.
Okay. Gary from Geocache Talk says, for the after show, is that Chris or Evil Chris? Hashtag Star Trek episode. And I do feel like I'm the evil Chris, because you remember the Star Trek episode where Spock had a goatee on the evil side and not on the after show.
I do remember that. I also, probably a more obscure pop culture reference from the 90s. I think it was 90s, 2000s, whenever it was. The show Community.
Mm-hmm.
The evil characters had goatees.
You have to have a goatee if you're evil, and have a British accent.
Don't necessarily have to have the British accent, but definitely the goatee.
Let's see. Limax says, my sister went to her 49ers home game last Sunday, and yes, she has season tickets.
Well, her first 49ers home game. That's cool.
Yeah. And at the Giants game, we're the stand-up in P section.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I know what he's getting at, but...
You're way up there. Let's see. IHAM says, go ahead, tell about the odd event. The odd event. Yes. So there was a lunch event, 12 o'clock during the Dead Men Tell No Tales event. Thought, great, let's go there. We walk in, and it's a bar restaurant type. There was a crew setting up cannons out front that were going to shoot over the water. I thought, oh, this is going to be fun, but they're just starting to set up. We don't have enough time. So we walk in, we grab menus, sit down, and it was a pizza menu, and there had to be 30 to 40 pizzas on this menu. Incredible. I'm looking at it going, oh, I like that. Oh, I like this. Oh, you're going through the whole menu. We're agonizing over our choice. Okay, let's do this.
It sounds like the place we stopped at Long Beach and had the dinner event for the Cash Dash Splash event.
Yes, very similar, actually.
Okay.
This was more piratey than that was.
Okay. Got it.
Piratey is a term.
It is now.
So we looked around. Well, it says order here. Okay, we walked up with our menus and said, hey, we'd like this and this. And they go, oh, those aren't our menus. We just serve beer, and they use their pizzas to pay for beer, and we use our beer to pay for their pizzas.
Okay.
So, okay, bye. I was like, well, this is an odd lunch event. There's no lunch.
That's confusing.
Yeah. Die Monkey says it was an awkward event. So there you go. It was one of those. It was like, okay, let's just go home. That was, let's see, we'd already done the multi. No, we hadn't done the multi. We walked to the multi from there, did it, and went on our way.
Cool.
So,
well, it sounds like you had a really good time.
Bryling says, my target cache for tomorrow is to fill one of the 5 remaining spots on my Jasmer grid.
Ooh.
He's looking for She'll Be Coming. Is it She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain or just She'll Be Coming? Anyway, it's GC 1D8. Now, we can say that one all day. Yes. It's up near, I want to say it's up near the event and that geocache called Geocache, whose GC code will not be mentioned. But GC 1D8, you can say all day long. Actually, at this ape event, I'm hoping to get the cache on top of the tunnel.
Oh, okay. That one's apparently quite a hike up there.
Well, I figured, if we can go to do one cache, we'll do that one.
Sure, that makes sense. Make a day of it.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't be that hard, but
cool.
Let's see. Group caching after the beers. That makes it blurry. Limax says, good thing I've been lazy and grown out my beard instead of just having a goatee.
So does that mean that I've always been the evil monkey?
Yeah. Duh.
Okay.
Speaking of evil, we've got a good monkey. We call her Die Monkey.
That's true.
I will not be at any of the ape events. It's the end of summer picnic for our Summer of Champions program, and I need to put the Cashinator on the train for his return to college.
Oh, well, good for her.
That's sad. I mean, returning a son to college, but at the same time, you're a good mother.
Yeah, it's good to know your priorities.
Okay. So, yeah, YouTube is an issue. And things like that.
And such. What else?
Ryling says, I think you can drive most of the way to the one on top of the tunnel. So that reminds me, I will need to load my physical GPS. My GPSR.
Yes.
Not just my smartphone for that. Here. Oh, come on.
I would like you to make a note of this then for an upcoming show with myself and Scott Burks.
Because you can get up there and there's there's pretty good cell reception by the geocache whose letters we cannot name, because there's a cell phone tower right there.
Right.
But in other places up there, it's really quite spotty.
It is, yeah. Cool. What else do we got?
I'm watching on YouTube and bugging you in the Q&A, says Brylang. I did post a comment in the live video to see if you guys see it or not.
I don't think we're looking there. I'm not.
Yeah, I think we have to look there. So yeah, one of the options that I've thought about, and I don't know if I'll go with it, is we could actually use Twitter for the Q&A.
We could, as long as people used a consistent hashtag.
Exactly, and that would be it. We would have to use a very consistent hashtag, and we could use a second screen then, or a third screen, or whatever, like our phones of some sort, or a tablet to watch that and be able to answer that. It's one way to do it. I like the Q&A right next to the video, but
it's been convenient, that's for sure.
I'm looking into options for a custom web page that we will work on. So there's lots of different things. I don't know what we're going to go with yet. I don't know how it's going to work out. So
we'll keep you guys posted though as we try
exactly.
things. And
so we will try some things. We will probably do a patron hangout to do a couple of testing.
Good idea.
So
maybe a little bit of a bumpy road till we get it sorted out.
Exactly. But to know that we love you guys. We really want to hear from you. The Q&A is an integral part of the show.
Absolutely.
It makes it a conversation rather than a monologue.
Yes, agreed.
So, or a dialogue if there's two of us, or a trialogue if there's three of us.
Or a tricorder if it's three of us and we're recording the dialogue.
Oh, yeah. Evil Spock. Okay. And always make your sauerkraut with garlic.
Well, yeah.
Folks, thank you so much. We will see you next week. Same bat time. Hopefully same bat channel.
Thanks for joining us.
Good night.